Warren Buffett has held General Motors stock for a very, very long time. Warren Buffett is officially the greatest investor in history, or at least his returns and the many billions of dollars he's made over the last decades prove that. I remember opening a textbook when I was at university, and it said that Warren Buffett had made averaged annualized returns over a 40-year period of 33% per year. How the hell did that happen? I'm not too sure. I've never really understood how Berkshire Hathaway are able to beat the market consistently. But I do know this. They just dumped a very, very large percentage of their General Motors stock. What does this say about Warren Buffett and Berkshire Hathaway think about General Motors? Not much. Hello, my friends. Welcome to the channel. Great to see you. Thank you for tuning in. I'm Sam Evans, and you're watching The Electric Viking. Welcome to all the new subscribers. Great to have you, and welcome back everyone else. Now, I've broken down in the past Warren Buffett's brilliant, absolutely brilliant decision to invest in BYD, except it actually wasn't his decision. That's the funny thing. Yes, Berkshire Hathaway did invest billions of dollars into BYD, who at the time almost no one in the West had ever heard of. I mean, BYD was a joke back when Charlie Munger, Warren Buffett, and Berkshire Hathaway made the decision to invest billions of dollars into the company. They were a joke. They were. I mean, Elon Musk was asked what he thought about BYD's cars about 10 years ago, and he laughed. I think I remember him saying something like, they're crap. And they were. All of a sudden, they got a lot better. And somehow, Berkshire Hathaway predicted this would happen. Or they predicted that BYD would become one of the biggest battery manufacturers in the world, which they did. In fact, they're the second biggest in the world. They're also the second biggest electric vehicle manufacturer in the world, and the biggest vehicle manufacturer in the world that makes a combination of plug-in hybrids and fully electric cars. They're a scary company. And Berkshire Hathaway somehow knew this before anyone else. In fact, many, many, many years before anyone else had any idea this was happening. And as a result, they made billions and billions of dollars from that brilliant investment. The same company that recognized the genius at BYD is now saying, well, we don't see the same thing at General Motors. Does that come as a shock to you? Because it doesn't to me. Now, General Motors did do something good today. They invested a lot of money into a battery startup that is going to make lithium iron phosphate battery technology, or batteries, in the US. But it's a little bit late for that. That is a good decision, but if they'd made that decision 5 years ago, it would have been much better. Now, Warren Buffett's Berkshire Hathaway has cut its stake in General Motors by nearly 50%. The fund reduced its GM shares from about 40 million to just under 22 million. Berkshire Hathaway said it nearly halved its stake in General Motors in the second quarter of this year. The firm sold 45% of its stake in GM, reducing its shares massively. And this is not something that Berkshire Hathaway usually do. Now, they do sell their shares. In fact, they've sold a lot of their shares in BYD. They still own a very large number, though. They've sort of like made a big profit and said, thank you very much. In fact, they still own a very large percentage of the company, even though they've made back their investment by a factor of 10. But what surprised me the most about this decision by Berkshire Hathaway to dump such a massive amount of General Motors stock is that they've done it at what appears to be a low point for the company. And the stock is currently valued at $32.80. However, I mean, not long ago, it was valued at $40. Back in February, the stock was sitting at $43 US. So it seems as though Berkshire have just said, you know what, no sunk cost here, get rid of them now. What are they seeing that we are not? Is there something that they're seeing on the horizon now that is ringing an alarm bell for the company? Or are they just recognizing the fact that General Motors' EV promises are not coming true? And they've made so many of them now that people are starting to say, you remember that story, The Boy Who Cried Wolf? Yeah, the same thing's sort of happening to you. Now, Berkshire Hathaway have this mentality, right? They invest in companies that they see have good intrinsic value. And General Motors, right now, they appear to be pretty good value. Their price to earnings ratio is sitting at a very low point. In fact, it's the lowest point in the company's history. So the company should, by Berkshire Hathaway's own measurements, be very good value and not a company they'd be selling. In fact, they should be a company they would be buying, considering their price to earnings are sitting at 4.5. I mean, Teslas are at over 80, meaning that in the views of the value world, which is what Berkshire Hathaway are based on, value investing, GM is the definite buy. But for some reason, instead of buying, Berkshire are dumping. No one seems to know why. I mean, I can tell you why pretty easily. I just did. However, David Whiston, a US auto equity analyst at Morningstar Research Services, told Automotive News that Berkshire Hathaway's motivation for selling is just unclear. It's baffling. It could be a variety of reasons, from UAW risk, that means union risk. Of course, General Motors are negotiating a new deal with the unions. Unions are asking for double the money. General Motors, Ford, and Stellantis are saying, well, we can't pay that much, and the unions are saying, well, you have to. That could be part of it. Could be the fact that that Berkshire are tired of waiting for the stock to rally, to macro risk owning a cyclical name, or to just having a better idea and wanting to reallocate capital. Now, the truth is, Berkshire Hathaway don't have a better idea to reallocate capital. You know why we know that? We know that because Berkshire invests in pretty much two things: Apple and themselves. I mean, 70% of their money over the last couple of years has gone into Apple and just rebuying back their own shares. So Berkshire Hathaway is scratching their heads, looking for something to invest in. I'm pretty confident they don't have any better options that they see right now. They've even said that themselves. GM declined to comment on Berkshire Hathaway dumping such a large percentage of its stock in the quarter ending June 30. Berkshire Hathaway also declined to comment, unsurprisingly. In the same filing, Berkshire Hathaway revealed new investments in several home builder companies, but not large ones. Investor concern over a possible UAW strike amid negotiations with the big three is on the rise. GM shares saw a 6% drop on Thursday, the company's biggest plunge in nearly 8 months. Buffett has long been loyal to the Detroit Three and was known for driving a Cadillac. In 2012, Berkshire acquired 10 million shares in General Motors, but the firm's stake has grown and shrunk over the past decade amid recalls and other developments. Berkshire Hathaway also sold off millions shares in BYD earlier this year. However, that was simply exercise, or it's perceived that way anyway, as BYD has seen a rise in its share price, and I believe Berkshire Hathaway are simply cutting down their risk profile there, kind of like taking a profit. But they still own a lot more of BYD than they do of General Motors. Now, I think this decision was a pretty smart one from Berkshire Hathaway, and I think Berkshire Hathaway, the patience had probably worn out. Now, I personally don't understand why anyone would invest in General Motors at this point in time, but if you have, or if you know anyone that has, let me know what their motivation is. I mean, there must be a really interesting story behind that one. Let me know in the comments, guys. What are your thoughts on this? Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.